Welcome to the Directors Club podcast, your go-to resource for child care center owners and directors seeking success at their centers. Each week, we dive into the world of child care management, sharing valuable tips, tools, resources, and strategies to help you build enrollment, retain top teachers, and streamline your operations. With a casual and lighthearted approach, we tackle the challenges you face from staffing and enrollment to business skills and time management. Join us as we unlock the secrets to creating a thriving child care center. Let's laugh, learn, and grow together. This is the Directors Club podcast. Welcome to Season 6 of the Directors Club podcast, exclusively for child care center owners and directors. I'm Noelle Dentino, ex-corporate girl turned child care center owner. I took my corporate experience, paired it with my sister's early education background to create easy-to-implement business practices that have made our center, Scribble Time, a huge raging success in our community. And now I'm here to share it all with you to help you gain back time in your day, jumpstart projects you're working on, and find and hire that next great teacher. Let's do this. Hey there, it's Noelle from the Directors Club. And today's podcast is a little bit different because I want to share something I'm super excited about and emotional. So I'm going to try not to get to cry. But if many of you know me, before I started my childcare center with my sister, Sarah, we own it together. I was in banking before that. I was in a banking job in Boston, and our bank got bought out by Bank of America. And I had an 18-month-old at the time, and her name is Gabby. And my sister, who's younger than me, had just graduated with her degree in early ed. And so we decided to open up a childcare center together, and she did the early ed piece, and I did the business part. And through the years of working together, I learned a ton about childcare, but I also had a wealth of business knowledge. And we found that having those two backgrounds mixed together made the perfect recipe for a highly successful center. Our center, Scribble Time, is so successful in our community, and things work really well here. We have systems and processes and all the 9 yards. And so that's when I decided to get into consulting in 2008 because centers around me were struggling and asking for us to buy them out, and they couldn't even keep enrollment up. And we had a wait list like in a binder, which we still have. And so I wanted to go out and help them. And so we did that for a few years. And then when Gabby turned 3, poop hit the fan. And if I wasn't on a podcast, I'd probably say something else hit the fan. But poop hit the fan when she was 3. My poor daughter had ADHD, sensory integration, anxiety, and she was 3 years old by the time my center opened, and I had to watch her disrupt the class. She was singled out all the time. She caused stress on her teachers and herself, and she lost skills, social skills, because of these behaviors. I felt so bad for her. I felt so bad watching her go through this and not understanding why she was doing it. I was so new in the field. So I went to the pediatrician and I was like, what do we do? And he said to me, you need to be consistent, and you and your husband need to be consistent. And so we bought like every stinking parenting book you can imagine, because I told you I was in banking before this. I knew nothing about kids. And so we went to the pediatrician, and we literally did everything. And so finally my husband and I were like, maybe it's because she's at the center with you and your sister. So moved her to another center with us. Amazing teacher, loved her, Miss Mary Ellen. She's a seasoned teacher. She's retired now. And she was so kind. She used to give me tips and tell me things that I could maybe do with her. And I was able to form that home to school bond with the teacher and Gabby. But things didn't get better. Gabby kept doing all the same things. And so I went back to the pediatrician, and he said to me, oh, you need to be consistent. You need to be consistent. And I'm going to tell you something. My husband's really consistent, and I'm the softie. And he calls me out on it. My husband and I have an amazing rapport and relationship. And he's, Noelle, you need to be more consistent with your kid so that when she goes to school, she does it. So we were, and it still wasn't working. And I was like, Gabby needs a counselor. So we went and got a behavior counselor, but we found out that she was too young. It wasn't working. It was us that needed it to help her. So as Gabby got into situations with socially or at school, we would talk to the counselor and she would say, try this. And it worked. Things were working. And so my daughter is now 21 and highly successful. I am so proud of my child. She came to work for me when she was 16. And the first night she came home and we sat at the dinner table. And she said to me, she said, Mom, she starts telling me about this boy who literally is her when she was 3. And I got so irritated. I didn't say anything to her at the time, but I was about to say, I don't want to hear about that at the table. Like, he can't help himself, these poor kids. And she said to me, he was so upset. He was like kicking towels over doing this. And then right when I was going to say something like, I don't want to hear about it, she goes, and she talked about all the different skills that she has learned since we were in counseling, how to help him in the classroom, and how she talked him through things and how she helped him get engaged with a group of children, and literally cried my eyes out. And I could cry right now talking about it, because those are skills that these kids need, right? And all right, so I've collected myself. I'm good now. And so through Gabby's time, when we go back to Gabby, she had good years and bad years. Some years the teachers I didn't know this. I'm thinking it's all her at the time. Some years were really tough and some years were okay. And then some years a little bit better. But we get to 4th grade and she had an amazing year, literally perfect. I don't even remember being spoken to about her. But I was a classroom mom and I would go in there a few times during the week, and this teacher had small groups. She had a consistent routine. She was consistent with the rules in the classroom. She was always calm. She, what I know now, had excellent classroom management. And so right around that time, I began taking early education classes because I told you I had my degree in speech and language pathology, but I didn't have my degree in early ed. And so I started taking these classes. And so from my counseling and from watching the 4th grade teacher and from these courses, I began really understanding early education. And so as the classrooms at Scribble Time struggled, my sister and I would brainstorm ideas. And before I even got into all this, I really was just listening, but now I was able to add some input. And so I was taking things from the 4th grade teacher, and again, that power of classroom management. But while I was taking the classes in early ed, I didn't learn classroom management. I didn't learn transitions. I didn't learn to put the kids in small group. I was learning all about philosophies and, how people, what NACI does, which is awesome. Believe me, I love NACI. But I wasn't learning some of the things that these teachers needed in the class, like the implementation stuff, I guess I want to say. So I was on this mission with the Directors Club to support childcare center directors. And as many, I have a membership. You can join the membership with the Directors Club. And in that, I have a ton of online courses that, for directors that help you streamline systems and best practices and save you time. I have an entire onboarding program for your teachers if you want an onboarding, and it's all the stuff that you can use it as is or make it your own. And I've created all this stuff because it's going to save you time, right? And it's somewhat best practices that you can make your own. And this is time that I know that you'll get back in your day that you could put back into mentoring your teachers. And I know that it works. But then COVID came, right? And it changed everything. And our workforce was already hurting before COVID, but the workforce changed so greatly after COVID. And we are now all hiring these new to the field people. And I have some pretty amazing educators at Scribble that have joined us since COVID. And they are passionate about being in the field. And I feel so fortunate to have these new people that are driven and they want to learn and grow. But we're all stuck in this situation right now. They're all new, or We have teachers that have been doing it for years, and the children have changed through COVID, right? And we're taking courses in professional development, but there are no courses for the real life things in the classroom that we need today. And what do I mean by that? How are you teaching a brand new assistant about ratios? How is a brand new teacher understanding her role in ratios and her role in being on time and showing up and counting the kids from room to room? Like, how do you teach that? Or when a classroom is struggling with transition, what's your go-to professional development for that? How do you take the system, your most amazing classroom? Think about the classroom you have that you're like, oh, that classroom is amazing and that teacher's awesome. But you have another toddler room down the hall that has two brand new teachers who are fully capable of running that room, but they just don't have the experience yet. How are you teaching them what that rock star teacher has down the hall? What course are they taking for that? Another thing to think about is, what do you do if a teacher's just sitting around? How do you help her engage in the classroom? What can you give her to have her engaged? Instead of just saying, please don't sit in the classroom, we like to get engaged. Well, if you're brand new, like, what the heck does engaged in a preschool classroom mean? They might not even know. And what professional development course are you going to take that's going to show you? And have any of you promoted a lead teacher to assistant director or director? Like, how is she learning to transition to a leader and all the things she needs to do? So you see, we all have these problems. And we take professional development, which I love professional development. If you know me, if you see my books behind me when I'm doing a live video, you know this girl loves to learn. But it's the day-to-day things that we get stuck on. It's the professional development we take. But then what happens after we take it? We both could take a class on transitions, let's say, and then I come back and implement it one way and you come back and implement it another, or I don't implement it at all and you're doing all the implementing. So there's so many different things that are not playing out the way we want them to. And so what this podcast is about today, it's not a topic that I'm teaching you something on. It's just a podcast that I'm sharing with you because I finally feel like my journey to help Gabby, all the Gabbys out there, is here. And again, I'm super emotional about it, but it feels really good. And so I'm excited to tell you a few things. And many of you may know because you've been on office hours with me in the Directors Club, but we hired a director of operations at Scribble Time, Jessica Day. And she is a former director at another center and has been teaching in the field for a long time. She has so much experience. And she joined me in October to help me realize this dream that I'm going to tell you about right now. And it's going to support you, the director, but reduce your workload and your stress, my friend. But the best part is it's going to support you in mentoring your team. And so what I'm really excited to share with you today and why I'm so emotional is because we have a new product that we came out with called the Teacher's Lounge. And since you're listening to this podcast, I think you, and I'm going to tell you your team, are really going to this. Because right now you can go to our brand new podcast, The Teacher's Lounge, that is out right now, and you can binge the first few episodes. And the link to the podcast is in the show notes. So, what is the Teacher's Lounge? So, the Teacher's Lounge is a mentoring program for childcare centers. And it is meant to support you, the director, in mentoring your team. And we have developed a mentoring program based on job position. Now, I know we all have different titles and whatnot, but we look at 5 major job roles in early education. And this does not put down our cooks and our bus drivers and safety monitors and all those other positions that we all need. But the jobs that we're focusing on in the mentor program are new to the field assistant. So welcome to early ed, brand new teacher, brand new assistant. The next title is teacher. So a floating teacher or a second teacher in the classroom or any teacher. The third role is lead teacher. So we have specific trainings for them. The fourth one is assistant director. So you just got promoted from teacher to assistant director. Like, now what? What support do you need in that role? And then the fifth one is implementation, and that's your role in this. Because implementing professional development is so critical. And so we have set the podcast up in 5 seasons. So you can, if you want, go take a binge on that and rate it, give us some feedback and let me know what you think. But that podcast is meant for you to see a podcast on there and share it with someone in your team. And so maybe someone struggling any specific topic. So these are meant to help you just mentor your team, give them a little bit on the job training that they may need. But that's the free portion. We're going to be kicking off in the next few months the live portion of the paid version of the Teacher's Lounge. You'll also get a link to share with your entire team so they get access too. So everyone that works for you. So you have a new employee start, give them the link right away. And so each job title that we have has a bunch of trainings for it. So one training I'll talk about right now is in the brand new to the field. It's called Ratio Rundown. And that the courses include a video that they can watch on it or a private podcast. So this has a lot more than the free versions. It has how to implement it, has a workbook that comes with it. It has a checklist in every workbook on how to implement it. So this is something that you could give to somebody at orientation. And you can say, I want you to go take Ratio Rundown. That's like your first class that you're going to take in orientation. Or you can take, we have a course in there called Welcome to Early Ed, and it goes over like with the roles in the center and why we do the things we do and how we get licensed and what curriculum is and safety and like all that stuff. And these are classes that you can give to your new teachers or to existing teachers, and they can go watch it. And it has this checklist, and it will help them implement what they just learned. Every course will also have a quiz, so you get to determine if you want them to take it or not. If they take the whole class, they'll get to be able to download a training certificate. So that's what they get. You get, as the director, when you log in, you're going to see exactly what they have, but yours is going to be a little bit different. You're also going to get a training video on how to implement it. So you get everything that they get, plus you get an implementation guide. So what it's going to do, it's going to tell you how to go about implementing this in your center, whether you want to use it for orientation. So maybe as new employees come in, you go into the portal and see the courses that we have, and you require them to take certain courses. You can also use it for a staff meeting. You can refer everyone to go watch a training before the staff meeting, maybe on classroom management. Classroom management is a 5-course, it's a mega course in there. And classroom management has 5 different sections in it. You could spend an entire professional development day doing it, or you could do 1 section a month or 2 sections a month with your staff at your staff meeting. Every single course also comes with mentoring questions to help you spark discussions on it. My friend, you're not going to have to think about anything. You're just going to have to pick the topic based on the needs of the people on your team, pick the class, open up the workbook, and you'll be ready to go. And so how this is going to work is a center will register. So the teachers cannot register for this. It's just center-based. You'll sign up based on how many students you're licensed for, and you'll have access to the portal for 12 months. And that's not all that you're going to receive, right? You're going to get a link for everyone on your team to get access to the portal so that they can start consuming the classes either on their own, or when you're mentoring them and you're noticing that they may need a little bit of help in transitions, or maybe they need some help in professionalism, talking to families, that's all in there. And you can refer them to that. Because on top of that, if you're going to refer them to a course, there's an implementation follow-up checklist that you're going to give them, and they're going to get it from you, or you'll email it to them, And it's going to tell them, take the class or listen to the podcast. They can do either one, whatever works for them. And it's all free to them because you've bought the membership. And they'll follow back up with you like after it. And then there'll be mentoring questions if you really want to reinforce it. But that's not it, because that's like typical professional development, right? We're going to also offer weekly Teachers Lounge office hours. And what's this? This is if you're in the Directors Club, it's exactly like our office hours, except there'll be teachers on it. So this is going to be, you're going to come to a Zoom call, or if you can't make it live, and we're going to rearrange them throughout different time zones. I know that's going to be hard, but you can submit a question. So we'll all come together, and one at a time, people go around the room and talk about whatever they're trying to implement. Like maybe you're trying to implement the classroom management, and we can work through each of the steps together. Or you're totally stuck at what to do, or a teacher's totally stuck at what to do, and we can direct them to a course to take or to a resource inside the portal for them. And then we're going to talk to them about implementing. And then we're going to say to them, come back to the office hours and come back and listen. And anyone else can pitch in too if they have ideas. And we're going to record all of these office hours, and we're going to upload them into the training portal. But I got to back up a second. Before we even finish recording them, once everyone that's live has gone and we've talked to, we're then going to start addressing every question that was submitted to us. So every question every week is going to get answered, and the recordings are all going to be inside the portal. And when you go in the portal, you'll see the recording, and it will tell you every topic we talked about. So even if you didn't submit a question, you could say, oh, that looks like a great office hours to take a look at. And so we currently don't have this open yet because we're finalizing. We're actually right now, we're recording all the trainings that we've developed, and there's a lot of them. So a lot of talking. I just finished part of, what was that? Classroom management. I did vision today and reflection. We have a really cool system for that. It comes with all the workbooks, documents, like you name it. You're going to get it all. But if you're interested in that portion of it, you can go to the website. It's in the show notes for the Teachers Lounge websites. It's the Early Education Teachers Lounge.com, and you can get on the wait list. And trick on the wait list is anybody on the wait list is going to get access for $1 for the first 2 months, because I would love your feedback. I would love you to test it out, share it with your team, see how you can use it. Tell me if you think how you like the classes. We're going to offer you to consistently submit courses or just podcasts you want to listen to that will help with the problems you have right now. That's what we want to deal with. Because all the things I'm developing, I'm using in my center. They have been so helpful. I have a brand new team, and we're using the reflection pieces in it, and it's really creating a collaborative work environment. The teamwork is amazing, and the classrooms are going really well. So head over to the show notes in this and to the Teachers Lounge. Check out my new podcast, get on the wait list, and I want this to be like a one-of-a-kind support for you and your team that's affordable and supportive and like really helps you. Jessica has been working so hard on this. She has been working on so much content. You probably have seen us all over different places. We're doing surveys. We're finding out exactly where your teachers are struggling. And you know what? We all are having exactly the same struggles. And she is just staying on top of what's current right now. But I think that you'll really this new content that we have with the Teachers Lounge, because it is so incredible, so crucial and critical that we build our workforce and we start building classroom confidence in our teachers, because they need that. Our new teachers need that. Our existing teachers need it. We need to be teaching leadership skills to lead teachers so that they feel comfortable mentoring the assistants. There's so much work to be done. And we're hoping that we just reduced your workload and giving you a support that you really need. So I believe that the Teachers Lounge is going to benefit the teachers and you so much, and all my Gabbies out there and all the kids out there. Thank you for listening. I know this is a totally different podcast. I don't typically cry on podcasts, but I'm so happy to have this. I feel like I know that this is going to help. I know that these are things that we all need because I need them too. My team is going to benefit from this. We're going to be developing classes all the time that are just going to support all of us. So thank you for listening to this, and go listen to my new podcast. I think you'll really like it. I think you'll really love Jessica. You're going to get to know her a lot more now that she is just creating content with us and things are going really well. And I'm super excited to get all this rolling this year and really change it because you know what? What we're in right now, no, it's not going to change. I know it's not. And we don't have time. And I think that this goal has finally been realized for us to support you, not only in the business side like I do in the Directors Club, but also in the Teachers Lounge. I want to help you mentor your team so that we can just really uplift early education and change this world and all the kids in it. Have an awesome day, and please reach out to me and let me know what you think. Have a great day. Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you know another director who might benefit from listening, please share the link to my podcast. I love connecting with directors and sharing business tips and tools to make your life easier. The show notes below have all the links I talked about in the podcast, along with my social media connections. I'd love you to tell me how I'm doing by rating the show or leaving a comment. Hope you have a great week, and I'm cheering you on. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Directors Club. We hope you found tips, tools, and strategies valuable for your childcare center. To access even more resources and take your center to new heights, visit our website at thedirectorsclub.net. There you'll find a wealth of exclusive content, training programs, and support tailored specifically to childcare center owners and directors. Don't miss out on this opportunity to unlock your center's full potential. Remember, success starts here at the Directors Club.